There comes a moment in every man's life where he looks back and realizes he was played. Not because he was stupid, not because he was weak, but because he cared, because he trusted, because he wanted so badly to believe that the person in front of him was who they pretended to be. And that moment of clarity cuts deeper than any betrayal itself. The moment you recognize that someone held strings over you, pulled them at will, and you danced without even noticing. It's easy to think manipulation is something that only happens to naive men, men without strength, men who lack intelligence. But that's a lie. The truth is, the men who get manipulated most are often the ones with the biggest hearts, the men who carry loyalty like a badge, the men who were raised to keep their word, to stand by others, to endure. And that endurance, that loyalty, that hunger to believe in people, it becomes a weapon in the wrong hands. Because manipulators don't search for fools. They search for men with open hearts and unguarded minds. You've felt it before, haven't you? That subtle twist in the gut when someone gives you just enough affection to keep you hooked, then pulls it away when they want something. That sick, quiet panic when a silence stretches too long, when their approval feels distant, when you find yourself bending your own standards just to keep the connection alive. That desperate negotiation in your own head. If I just give a little more, if I just wait a little longer, maybe they'll come back. Maybe they'll see me. Maybe they'll finally give me what I've been giving them. And that's how men become puppets. Not because someone forced them, but because they handed away the strings themselves, one thread at a time, in the name of love or loyalty or hope. The ancient Stoics understood this game long before it was given modern names. Epictetus, a man born a slave, watched tyrants and masters bend others with words and threats, and he discovered something most men today still haven't learned. No one can manipulate you if you refuse to place your peace, your worth, and your freedom in their hands. A man cannot be manipulated when he governs himself. That is the secret. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, wrote to himself in his private journal, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinions than our own." Think about that. You will bleed for someone's approval while ignoring your own conscience. You will contort yourself into shapes that disgust you just so another person smiles. That is the root of every manipulation, the addiction to approval, the hunger for validation, the need to be seen. And the manipulator knows it. They see the way your eyes flicker when they praise you. They see how fast your chest tightens when they withdraw warmth. They study your reactions like a hunter studies prey. And once they know what you crave, they own you. So, what do? You take it back. You learn to sit with silence. You learn to breathe through discomfort. You stop begging for the tension to end. You stop needing someone else to pat you on the head like a boy who's done well. Because when you can endure the unease, when you can stand in that storm without reaching for their hand, their power fades. Epictetus told his students, "When someone stirs up your anger, know that it is your own judgment being stirred up." He was saying this: the button they push was built by you. Your need for resolution, your fear of rejection, your desire for clarity, that is the lever. And if you dismantle it, their hand has nothing left to pull. But there's another trap. It's not just approval, it's promises. Manipulators survive on promises, not patterns. They speak just enough to keep you hoping. They whisper change. They hint at commitment. They say the words you crave. But look closely. The pattern never shifts. The cycle always repeats. Seneca warned, "We are easily deceived by that which we desire." And he was right. You wanted to believe her when she said she'd treat you better. You wanted to believe that friend would finally show up for you. You wanted the story to change so badly that you closed your eyes to the evidence in front of you. And so you chained yourself to words instead of watching the actions. The cure is brutal but simple. Stop listening to promises. Study patterns. Ignore the speeches. Watch the history. A single action repeated is worth more than 1,000 apologies. You already know who they are. Your pain comes from refusing to admit it. But here's the deepest layer, the one most men avoid. The manipulator's greatest weapon isn't charm, or silence, or sweet words. It's your own attachment to outcomes you don't control. They dangle the one thing you crave just out of reach. Her affection, his loyalty, that opportunity, that recognition. And because you've convinced yourself that your peace depends on getting it, you dance, you chase, you beg, you sell your dignity piece by piece, thinking the payoff will heal you. But the Stoics burned this truth into their bones. You control only your effort, your choices, your standards. Everything else, their opinion, their love, their mood, their decision, that is wind. If your happiness depends on the wind, then you will always be blown wherever it chooses. And that is slavery. So detach, not in coldness, not in cruelty, but in clarity. Remind yourself daily, I govern what I do. I govern how I think. I govern the boundaries I enforce. What happens beyond that is not mine to carry. When you live this way, the bait loses its shine. They can dangle affection, they can withdraw praise, they can play their games, and you remain unmoved. Marcus Aurelius called it the inner citadel, a fortress no one can breach. But that fortress is not built in a day. It is built every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you stand firm on a boundary, even when it costs you, every time you speak a truth, even when your voice shakes. Brick by brick, you lay the foundation of a man who cannot be bent. When you stop chasing, when you stop bending, you don't just escape manipulation. You earn respect. People feel it, the weight of a man who would rather walk away than betray himself. That presence cannot be moved. The pull will still come, that temptation to bend, to chase. But awareness changes everything. The pause between the tug and your response, the quiet recognition, I see it. This is the game, and in that moment, you reclaim your freedom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are pained by external things, it is not they that disturb you, but your own judgment about them. And it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now. That is the ancient secret: clear sight, calm presence, mastery of self. Because a man who governs himself cannot be governed by anyone else."